recovery tonight. They kept punching. They played awesome, played great. Every time we would get any momentum, somebody would either step up and get a big offensive rebound or a big tip ball or a turnover. I don't know that we had very many consecutive stops. We certainly didn't have enough to counter offensively. But that's kind of how this team does it. They punch you, and then they just are relentless in their pressure and trying to create the chaotic situation. We never could find calmness, never could get comfortable, and snowballed into a second half that we never quit, but we did get our heads down. So that's the first time we've done that this year. We'll spend a lot of time making sure that we get our heads back up because we have another style like this on Sunday that we'll need to bounce back from.
Yeah, you said you'll face another like this Sunday just defensively. I know there's probably a lot you can point to right now, but what are some of the main things that are kind of standing out to you that it's got to improve?
On defense?
Defensively, yeah.
Yeah. We got back cut like 8 times, I think. I lost count. We don't even pressure. That's a lack of awareness. That's a lack of being hooked up. So we will take a look at if there's a commonality in that, and we'll get it fixed. You know, whether I tell kids all the time, we can change personnel. Either you make changes in what we're trying to do, or we make personnel changes. Unless something changes my mind in film, it'll be the first time I've usually changed. I'm going to change the starting lineup probably on Sunday. I don't usually do that. I think it's time for us to give somebody a chance. Carly Johnson's come in, and it didn't happen to her, so we'll give her a shot at it. I don't know for who. I'm not telling you what's happening yet. That's just my gut reaction, but it is time with this team. I think they need to know that things like that, 10, who's an unbelievable player. They're good, but we have our hands down on a kid who'd already made 3 threes, and it's not one person, it's the next person. So those are all things that get frustrating for them, for us, but they're mistakes we can't continue to make. So that stood out at me. There were some things that, we worked on in our defensive segments that we never really got it. First play of the game. We've got somebody lined up in the wrong spot and want to look around like, what do you mean? Well, we worked on it for 2 days. How can you not carry it over to the very first possession of the game? We made a 3, right? Didn't we make a 3 to go up 3-0? Was that our only lead of the game? There you go. 28 seconds in. And then they go down and make a 3 right behind it. And that was just kind of the way the night went.
Yeah. Fourth quarter in specific. Y'all had pulled with that, I think 9 right before they hit that buzzer beater into the third. Just what kind of led to that snowball?
Do you remember how that shot was into the shot clock? There's only one thing they can do is pitch it to the kid and shoot it. And we closed out like there was 25 seconds on the shot clock, not 0.5. And that was deflating. I'd be lying to you if I didn't tell you it deflated me. I had a different talk planned. I had the Arkansas Little Rock. I dusted off the Arkansas Little Rock. Here we go. Right now it's 9 and we're going to, instead it went back up. So with a young team, it can only take one play like that. One play like that can shift it. But there were multiple plays. It wasn't just that one play. Don't get me wrong. I'm not blaming that one play. It was the entire game, start to finish, breakdown after breakdown, miscommunications. We come out of a timeout, and one time we changed, kind of what we were looking for offensively, and double-checked and triple-checked, and went back out and ran something that somebody else called out of the clear blue, and it caused confusion. We turned it over. I speak at coaches' clinics all the time, and I say, if you stand up and yell, hey, I just told you, that's on you. So that's on me. I did just tell them, but they obviously didn't hear me and or understand me. So that's on me. But I won't make that same mistake again with this team.
You mentioned some of the defense, obviously, in backdoor cuts. They had some nice moments in the mid-range as well. What makes them kind of a difficult team to guard like that?
They go at you. They're so aggressive and spin moves and up and unders, and they get you ball watching, and then all of a sudden you lose sight of somebody and they backdoor you. I don't know how they evaluate, how they use analytics, but I just think Ruthie dominates games without doing it statistically for them. Like, she fixes so many things on both ends of the floor and crucial rebounds and just wears on you. But I thought their guards controlled us on the perimeter. They got every shot they wanted. Oglesby, got to the rim at will on every single one of our players. We'd try to go to our defensive stoppers, and she'd find a way to get in there. Very crafty. They obviously work at it. They play that way every single game. They're very identifiable. If you had a copy of our scouting report, there's not one thing they did tonight that wasn't there. Now, that doesn't mean one thing when it comes time to tip it up. We've got to get that communicated to our kids, and we got to get it practiced so they can take advantage of it. But they are identifiable. They play to their strengths, and I think that's why they're going to have a good year.
They entered the night. I think they were shooting 22% from three on the season. Entering tonight, they go 10 for 27. Was there anything that maybe changed from the scout that maybe they were doing differently to get better looks from three?
Yeah, they were wide open. They just they were those first. I think they made 5 in the first quarter, and they were all pretty open, uncontested. I think you have to make them miss. They're good shooters. People have just been making them miss a little bit. But man, once they got going, and anytime somebody goes 5 for 5 on you, if they're 4 for 4, they should never get a fifth. That's that type of deal. I had 2 kids shot it really good. Well, sorry, I looked at free throws. It was 4 for 9. Sorry, I looked at free throws. We shouldn't let people do that. So that's correctable a couple of different ways. Again, we'll find somebody that can guard it, because that's going to be something people will do against us. We stayed out of foul trouble tonight, but it didn't matter. One of the corrections we made, it never really mattered. Vera got to play. We've been trying to get Vera closer to 30 minutes. We got 30 minutes out of her, but it didn't. That was one area of improvement that didn't factor into a change in the game.
And then obviously Izzy and Kiki both, I mean, they combined for 47, but nobody else got more than 6, if I'm reading the stats correctly. What did they kind of do defensively that kind of stifled you guys in that kind of department?
Well, I thought they were aggressive. They would either attack, or they would when we did move it to them, they would re-attack. We had some people that kind of stalled the ball. We'd pitch it out, and they would either hold it and not shoot it, or try to drive it to the wrong spot. So that's going to be on us to find out if they're lacking confidence to shoot it, or lacking understanding of what to do next. That's my guess. Is that rather than knowing what to do next, we take a bad shot or we throw it to the wrong spot. But that's where I thought Izzy and Kiki were very, very good. I thought Carly Johnson came in and kept that kind of going for us. She played multiple positions, and she was able to do that as well. So between those three, the stats, Carly's stats don't say that, but I think if you look at it on film, I think she did do those things.
Coach, I guess is the youth maybe part of the reason why you're, making lineup changes maybe a little bit sooner than you normally would?
Yeah, it is. I wouldn't do it to a veteran team that had, back years and years of film for me and earned trust. I may have some kids in the room. Maybe they're not comfortable starting. Maybe it's better if they come off the bench. That's why I'm not doing it out of, upset at anybody or lack of effort or anything like that. I just may have them in the wrong spot. So that's why we'll change it. But yes, a little bit of the youth, but also just the way our team has responded to everything that we do. I'm not looking at it as a negative thing. I'm just looking at it as something we need to do to try something different.
And I guess going off that, was there maybe in hindsight a little bit more hangover from the UCLA game
Sure.
than you gave credit for?
Yeah, probably, but I'm not going to make an excuse. They just whipped us. It was a long trip. It's a long trip when you take that and turn around. We didn't have to schedule 15 games. If y'all notice, not everybody plays a full schedule. You're able to play 31 games. I've always maintained the fact that we should try to play as many games as we could. So we did kind of cram some of these in here around the holidays, but and that would be something we'll learn from too. We're going to have some long trips, not outside the time zone like we did, but yeah, probably a little bit more of a hangover than dead legs and just tired. We got back really late, and then even though we were off on Monday, it did make for a different type of week. So probably a little bit, but I'm not going to make any excuses because they whipped us everywhere.
What was the technical foul early in the fourth quarter?
No idea.
It's hard to see.
No idea. She said it's not on you. And when I asked for an explanation, she couldn't give me one, or wouldn't give me one. And then when I asked for clarification from the other official who didn't know what happened, they were reluctant to do that. And it's not their responsibility, I don't think, to tell me what happened, but I'll need to find out. But they They didn't tell me.
So they just assessed it on the bench. They didn't say a single. Okay.
Couldn't point it out. Just saw. I said, well, what? I'll find out. I'll have to find out.
Yeah. And then just wanted to ask, moving ahead offensively, I know we talked a little bit about, Kiki and Izzy carried the load of the scoring today, but who are some of the players that, moving forward, you really need to see them step up?
Every one of them.
Yeah.
I don't know who it is. It's got to be somebody though. I can't keep asking our guards. I mean, they had 10 turnovers between them. And they've got to cut those down. We can't continue to get out rebounded and out turnovered. We've always been able to hang around because we don't turn it over and we get enough shots. But our turnovers are starting to become more than just a one-game thing. It's got to be somebody, Ethan. I'm not sure exactly who it is. I'm not going to put it on any one person. It's got to be a little bit of everybody. But I can promise you the first person that does is going to get a lot of minutes because we need it vitally. We need it. It puts a lot of pressure on those two kids, to have to bear the brunt of us as coaches telling everybody to stay in attack mode and them doing it, and then not everybody else following along. So we'll find somebody. And I'm kind of, I've really enjoyed coaching this team, so I'm going to be interested to see how they respond to that type of a challenge.
One more from me. You mentioned that they made a three, at the end of the quarter, and
Correct.
then at the end of the half where, y'all's bucket just goes in maybe a fraction of a second too late. Is that something that at the end of the half, is that something, maybe the situational awareness as the team grows up, that those things will kind of go the other way?
Hope so, because it has to. I mean, we got a good action called. It took us it took us too long to get into it. It was obviously going to be the right action, but we got it into it a fraction late. And again, I don't want to blame it on language barrier because it's not the English language, it's my accent. The play that I called does sound kind of close to the other one, to non-Arkansas kids. So that happened. I'm trying not to call very many actions in a live ball. Just trying to play. But when there's a dead ball or a late clock, but that's, again, I'll learn that. I'm not going to call those two plays together. I'm going to change the name of the play so that they don't sound alike anymore. And yeah, it's stuff that I would like to tell you we were prepared for everything, but I wasn't prepared for that one. Coach, I thought you said this, and I said it out loud, and I thought, okay, I can kind of see how that happened. But I think when you have a team that played as well as Oral Roberts did, you have to play very clean, and we weren't clean in any aspect because they made us play that way. It's on the top of the board in there. Y'all can walk in there. It's going to be chaotic, and we never found calmness. Even though we had pretty good practice, that doesn't always carry over, and it certainly didn't tonight. So, but it better because, again, we're going to see it again on Sunday.